in chat, I think now that we have Substack Live on the desktop too, it's going to be terribly distracting
Big
to
win.
not try to watch both at the same time. So, Lori Olson White,
Yes.
yay!
Yay. How are you?
I'm just fine, thank you. It's
Good.
such a thrill to have you join me.
Thank you
And
for having me.
hello, Linda. Welcome, welcome. Hindsight is
Hi, Kate.
here. Hello, Katie. Myrtle, I hoped you'd be here. We'll talk about that.
My
And
mother's
there we
name,
go.
middle name was Myrtle.
Oh, there you go. Merch.
Mhm.
Did you go by Merch too?
No,
Huh?
I've got a
Oh,
whole
well, good.
story about that another
Oh,
time.
another time. Don't call me Babs. We'll definitely talk.
There you go.
Mary, so good to see you. Lori, how do you do? Nice to see you. Thank you so much. So, these live programs, I sort of swallowed hard at the beginning of the year and said, well, what if it were there for me? What would I use it for? And then I looked and I had it. So I don't know how they rolled these out, but I've been thinking about it for a while as the best way to do it. And it dawned on me that
And
doing these as a scheduled time, everybody knows when to join. And it's like we all get on at the same time. I've noticed a whole lot of people chatting in comments on posts at the same time. And to my view, that's exactly the point of having a community here. So I like to use this to point ahead to what's coming on my schedule of events for the coming week. And lo and behold, Lori, you are the special thing on my calendar this coming
man,
week.
the pressure, the pressure.
Hold on to that thought because we're going to start with what's coming on Tuesday. So again,
Welcome,
starting back
Paula.
in starting back in so you all joining are welcome to tap in questions. And I know while I'm talking, I can't read at the same time. So I'm counting on you, Lori, to pop that in there as soon as we get going. So starting on Tuesday, we're going to pick up the second edition of our monthly mission genealogy gatherings. So we started these in January as a gathering that combines our roundtables and office hours. And since Asia Pac always gets left behind, we started with them first. So we did one at 4 p.m. California time, and projectkin.org slash
Hey, Robin.
Pacific time is how you know what time your things are in those schedules. And this week on Tuesday at projectkin.org slash Atlantic time, we will do the second of these. And they're always different, to be honest. And some of you, Jennifer, come twice, come to multiple of these programs, which is always flattering. Hey there, Robin's in the room. And as we do these, this week, we're going to be talking about using video on Substack. How coincidental. And I goofed up my
Hi, David.
recording at the Pacific time one. I forgot to hit the record button, so I flubbed it afterwards in a disaster of an edit round. So we get to do it again. So that's what we'll talk about on Tuesday. And then Thursday, we have Lori herself talking about a wonderful family story, family myth. Gosh, Lori, would you take a moment to tell us about that program?
Sure. So, it's a story that we've had in our family forever. A story about my grandma and my grandpa when they first met back in 1932. Grandma tried to impress my grandpa by baking a German chocolate cake. He was duly impressed to the point where he made a big deal about it, enough that my grandma assumed it was his most favorite thing in the entire world. And so it happens, right? So for the next 59 years, every year for their anniversary on January 1st and for his birthday on December 3rd, my grandma would make grandpa his favorite cake. Uh, and then in 1992, when we were getting ready to celebrate their 60th wedding anniversary, my grandpa kind of let the cat out of the bag and said, I don't like chocolate. Um, So, it was kind of a big kerfuffle in the family because I'd grown up every year having German chocolate cake for grandpa's birthday, for their anniversary. It was like it was part of who we were. Um, so anyway, so that the story kind of changed for us. And then a couple of years ago, I started thinking I should probably just like tell a story about this. And so I did what I do. I started doing some research, and turns out the story that I grew up with had changed, and also the story that I thought I knew as an adult had changed. So that's what we're going to be talking about on Thursday. And it's perfect timing because it is about this just tremendous love story between my grandparents, and it's the day before Valentine's Day. So great timing. Thank you so much.
It certainly did just work out that
it,
way.
it did,
And
yeah,
it is such a love story. You've told little bits and pieces of these from different parts of the world. Hello, New Zealand. Hello, Jane. Um, and
hey
you've
Shell.
told little bits of these stories, and now when I see their Howard and Elvira, and I watch the any of your pictures, I feel like a member of the family. Speaking
Yeah.
speaking of which, can you tell us a little bit about what's over your shoulder?
Sure, yeah. I mean, I am the kin keeper in our family, so everything kind of comes down to me. So I have my entire house is filled with just kind of family keepsakes. It's just part of who I am. It's just kind of how I connect. So if you followed along, I've got two Substacks. One is the Lost and Found Story Box, which is what it says it is, and the other one is Culinary History is Family History, and that's just a new one. And recently, I talked about my mom's talked about the value of keepsakes, and in that I talked about not this balloon lady. At the If you read the story, you know that my mom didn't get her great aunts myrtles, um, and Myrtle's balloon lady,
There's a
and
connection.
there's the connection. And she felt bad her whole life about it after Annie Myrtle died. And so before, when my mom was getting sick, I went online and I found two balloon ladies that I didn't quite remember which one it was. Um, and this is the one that it wasn't. So my mom got the other one. I got this one. And now my daughter has the one that was my mom's. And
Be
it's just
careful
a,
with that.
yeah, it's one of those things, keepsakes are crazy, right? Um, and my husband and I have this conversation a lot. But if you lose something, like mom really needed that for whatever reason, and giving her that healed that wound. And she knew it wasn't the same one. It didn't make any difference. And I think sometimes replacements are just okay. They still can hold. You can still fill in with the memory that you have, and so that's kind of my that's kind of my story about that. These over here um, are all of our old family Bibles in German, the German hymnals, the German prayer books from all the family, all my family, and then I've got also the like a 40-pound Bible that's I don't have it with me right here. I just got it a couple weeks ago. That's it's 40 pounds. I couldn't carry it home in my suitcase, but it's got a place of honor coming. So,
Yeah. Wow, Paula here, Paula Collins says, have lots of items to go through
for
between
sure.
two parents, still 2 years, still sorting. I'm right there with you. Many of you commented the many things around me.
Yeah.
I lost my mom 2 years ago, and there's a lot more you can't see.
Yeah. Yeah.
um,
Right.
and and in many ways, I love that idea that that there's a story you have in your culinary box with
Yeah.
that tells that story, and it includes this fabulous picture of your mother when you gave her
Right.
the pear to that. And it's
Yeah.
funny, I love that expression that you fill your memories, you pour your memories into the object. I pulled this out because it reminds me of the pensieve. If any of you have been Harry Potter readers, there is this innovation, which is these are the wands, and they show pouring a memory into this
Yeah.
bucket,
Yeah.
this cauldron, and I mean, it's not like that, but it's like that,
It is. It is. And
Um,
Shell, absolutely replace it. Just replace it. The memories will fill that thing up. And when you look at it, you won't even think that it's not the one that you started out with. I mean, I promise. I've done
it
it.
just
I've done it for a lot of things. We had kind of a contentious inheritance thing going on, and some of the things that I really felt I wanted didn't end up in my house, and I just replaced them, and they're they're precious. They're precious. I know.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not the things.
It's not the thing, it's the memory.
Yeah.
As you said that, I just looked back here because I've got a collection of well, mostly my husband's children's books that he brought from his childhood, but also the favorite books that we had for our daughters. And I realized when our daughters were young that I wanted them to hear one of my favorite stories as a kid. So this was after the internet boom. So
Mhm.
I went out to Ex Libre, one of those sites
Yep.
for used books, old books, and I found a copy of my all-time favorite. That's what I was trying to remember the name of it. Aesop's Fables,
Yeah.
and I adored that book. Name an Aesop fable, I know it,
Yeah.
and I just adored that book. And I couldn't. Anyway, I bought it. I
Yeah.
adore it. The kids probably are like, "Yeah, yeah, mom, whatever."
But the
Doesn't
cool
matter,
thing
damn it.
I know, but the cool thing is, like, with the not with the balloon lady, my daughter and my son and my grandkids know know the whole story. They know the part about it getting lost. They know the
Right.
part about me finding it and giving it back to great grandma,
That's right.
and it just adds to the story.
Exactly.
And I think on Thursday, that's one of the things that is really true about my grandparents' story as well, is that it wasn't exact the story as it unraveled isn't exactly as I grew up thinking it was,
Yeah.
but it's still okay. It's even better. It's even better, you know?
That is such a succinct way to pull together that core idea in my mind, if you don't mind a little Project Kin plug here.
Yeah.
In my mind, it is about the stories and getting those stories told, because
Yep.
the stories being told creates their own cycle of
Absolutely.
now having more stories to tell.
Yep.
And that's where the gold is. And it doesn't matter how you tell those
No.
stories.
No.
For too long, too many people have believed the writing of the stories is a as a priesthood. It is a specialized skill. And
That it's
I'm
the
not a writer. I can't
It's
tell
the
these
end,
stories.
not the means to the end.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And we
Years
have
ago.
so many ways to do this
Oh,
now.
for
Get the
sure,
stories
for
told.
sure.
Yeah.
Years ago, my daughter and I had a mommy blog, and I remember I interviewed a lady who was a psychological researcher. I don't remember who she was, but she said that maternal how a mom tells the stories to her kids. It was called elaborative storytelling and reminiscing, and that how especially the mothers tell the stories over and over and remind the kids about the stories, that it implants in their souls, and those stories will always be there. And again, however we do it, if we do it every time we eat off a dish that has some special meaning, or if every time it's they see the balloon lady in their house, or a ring that I'm wearing that they know belonged to somebody else, every time we remind ourselves and the next generation about those stories, we 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 ensure, or almost ensure, that those stories live beyond us, right?
Can you pull up that I would love to have that link for
So
that. Yeah,
yeah,
we'll include that in the recordings to this.
yeah,
And
I
thank
don't
you.
remember who it was. I can probably go
Well,
back into
just,
the archives
we'll
and
hum a
find it.
few
Yeah.
bars, we'll find it.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Name that tune.
thank you, Myrtle, for that point. Dear Myrta
Thank
had
you.
just pointed out, that these stories create bonds, and they're
Yeah.
like, I think of it, telecom background, as carrier waves for the
Mhm.
love in families, because it talks about how this thing was loved and how it carries down.
Yeah.
It is
And
the way you express love. It is, how
how
you
you
tell those
express love.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I
And how it
think,
looks in your family, because every family has a different
yeah,
way of looking at it, right?
that's right.
Because
The love
some people,
language.
like our family, well, my family, it's a we're because I am a thing keeper. It looks a lot like that.
Yeah.
Some people are not like that. Some people are different, and that's okay. Um, but do what you be you. Do what you do. Tell the stories. Put them in there, and just share them. Keep
Yeah.
telling your kids and your grandkids when they say, "I'm not interested in that." Tell them they are. convince them, you know?
That idea of repeating a story, even if and the eye roll from a teenager is almost like confirmation you've done your job because they heard
Absolutely.
it, they know it,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
that's a good thing. And when
and
when you're old and struggle to tell the string the words together, they will tell your story for
right?
you.
And
And if you're lucky, yeah,
the absolute best thing is to have, like one of my grandkids talk about their great great grandparents who they never met and say, "I remember when when great great grandma did that." Eh, they don't remember that, but they know it. They know it, and that can't be taken away. Right?
exactly. Exactly. So, as a matter of fact, I like to use these each week to summarize what's coming in the week ahead. And that took us as far as Thursday. This is a busy week
Yes.
because,
Plus
and I'm still
plus the
working
Super
on it.
Bowl.
Oh, that's like a game, right?
Yeah,
We'll
I think
come
it's
back
a
to that.
I think it's a snack, I'm not sure.
And don't worry, we won't run late because I think that snack is the schedule's coming up.
Yeah, yeah.
But on Saturday, you mentioned my great grandmother, so that's where I was going. On Saturday, I am doing a guest presentation for the
There
I'm
you go,
there with you
Paula.
on the puppy bowl, Paula. Um, on Saturday, I'm doing a guest presentation for the Northwest. Hold on to your hats. The
Indiana.
Northwest Indiana Genealogical Society, and you might say, Indiana? Why, yes. My ancestors, two whole branches of them, as a matter of fact, as recently as my grandparents, came through Indiana as Quakers. And while going through the things, the grandparents passed on buckets of things. I found an old photograph, a cabinet card of what appeared to be, I don't know, there was a scotch taped. Kathy, are you listening? Scotch taped to the front of it in my
Bangs?
aunt's handwriting, so there's no hiding. It
Yeah.
said, "Somebody is a Shriner?" Question mark. How to say this person's foreign, not one of us.
Oh.
And you got to own it, right? Um, and so at first I saw a scan of it, and then I found the actual cabinet card, and I don't quite remember the order in which this happened about 10 years ago. And that sent me on this wonderful little journey to figure out this. That was scotch tape. That comment was for you, Kathy. Um, and to find out what the story was. And so to tell the story, because I'm me, I told a story here in a proper print of a basically what you might call a digital scrapbook. I
Mhm.
don't. To me, it's a whiteboard. It's a digital whiteboard, interactive digital whiteboard, which is like, all those links are live. And even better, a QR code to get there from here. So I put that together as a project, and it was my exploration of my own roots in Indiana, which was fascinating. And that's exactly, well, what my presentation's about and why and
Super.
how, and which of course all boils down to the
And
fundamental point of get your stories told.
and anybody can go to that, right? Anybody can watch that?
Yes, that's right. I don't believe there's a fee to it, but you'll have to double check, and I will include the link. Then
Terrific.
But wait, there's more. A secret unannounced thing on Sunday, next week, Sunday. I will again be talking about my fun week ahead, where on Thursday we'll have Emma Explores with the marvelous Emma Cox chiming in from London as she explores her own family history, which is always fun.
Mhm.
And I would have her be our speaker on Sub Substack Live, but it's 10 o'clock at night in London, and fair enough, it's a little late to be live. I'm not good after 8 o'clock, as my friends in Australia know. So I have asked Myrtle because I'm going to be doing Mondays with Myrt with dear Myrtle, who was here
Ooh,
live and now quietly lurking on Substack. So we'll be talking about Substack,
Substack.
genealogy on Substack, because that's a fun new thing, and we are the pioneers cultivating and encouraging and, building a culture for our
Absolutely.
community on
Absolutely.
this platform. I feel
Yep.
so strongly about that. I feel so strongly well, I feel strongly about it in the same way that I felt strongly about raising our daughters, in the sense that you're conveying a culture and you're communicating the right way to do things and the right way to be supportive. I'm perfectly happy to be encouraged to say, "Hey, what about this?" Which is completely
Absolutely.
cool.
Absolutely. Community
There
building,
are,
right?
however exactly. There are, however, behaviors that are destructive, and I think we have seen that now in other platforms and don't need that, and I feel very, very strongly about platform independence. We could pull up our stakes tomorrow and go elsewhere. That's what is, I think, very, very important in how Substack does this, and I'm perfectly happy to talk about that because, frankly, I want Substack to see that this is a value that we
Give
all think
give
is
us give us
important.
our label. Give us our label. Hey, Substack, give us our label.
I
Come
know.
on.
Just to be clear what she means, hey, Substack, there is a little category up at the top that appears in that home screen. We want one for genealogy.
Absolutely.
It's very important, and I have heard definitely some acknowledgement that that's important from the Substack team. I will paste in here the note that we bubbled up a few months ago that started about 6 months ago. They've been
Yeah.
busy. Hey, live video. I'm happy for that.
Right.
So I think there's those kinds of ways in which we need to support and encourage these platforms to do that thing.
Mhm.
And as we used to say in the
Hey, Turna.
technology startup world, times of inflection create great opportunities. So there's no question the world of social media is in a time of inflection. But look what an opportunity this has created.
Mhm.
And get out there and support each other. If you don't know Mission Genealogy, check that out. We're doing a meeting at next on Tuesday, day after tomorrow. And all are always welcome. You can be a visitor without being a subscriber. All you have to do is follow the links at missiongenealogy.org/events. And you will see when and how to register. It's on Zoom. Ditto our Projectkin, projectkin.org/events. You'd think they were being done by the same person. What's up with that? And you can sign up for this fabulous program on Thursday with Lori Olson White. And don't forget to subscribe to her publications. You will find the list of publications at substack.com/at hometown writer, correct?
That's I think so. I think I
Hey,
you're the
I've been
I think
doing
that's
this for
where
a
I
while.
am. Yeah, right? Yeah.
Thank you
Just an
all.
end note, just an
Yeah,
end note on the community building. You know what? This I've met so many super passionate people that that are so generous, and you're a great example of that. So generous with their time, with their talents, asking great questions, being willing to engage in topics that might be outside their realm a little bit. It's the great definition of what a community can be. Um, and it's just it's a great place. So if you're not on it now, now would be a great time. That's all I'm
there
gonna
you
say.
go. And if you want to wrap this up, do you want to tell us a little bit about where you're headed next? Speaking of community, there is a community of,
There is.
is it Swifties? I can't remember. What is it? Swifties?
I
There's a
almost had my
baseball. What is it
Yeah,
again?
yeah, I almost had my Swifty shirt on underneath this red, but yeah. Yeah, actually I've got my Minnesota cuisine, my Minnesota football cuisine already in the crock pot over there, the grape jelly Vienna sausages. They've been going for a couple hours now, so hey, you be you. I'm sorry, that's what we do. That's what we do. So,
We're scaring our European friends, our international friends with our crazy foods.
it's football though. It's football,
It's
not
football.
soccer. So
Nothing counts when it's football. I get it. I get it. Queso and poutine, bring it on.
oh man, that is too spicy for a Minnesota palate. If Like
Okay.
ketchup. Ketchup is too
So
much
so
sometimes.
I'll get the recording out certainly within a couple of hours. I'm gonna
Terrific.
head over to Costco while everybody else is watching the game. That's what I do. I go to those noisy places that I can't stand the crowds in. I go during football, the Super Bowl day. It's like a
Yeah.
holiday for me. Oh, yay. All
I'm
right, well, so
sorry.
drop your drop your comments in for your favorite foods or anything else you'd like to chime in with as soon as I get the recording out.
Terrific.
And I can't no, you don't mix poutine and queso. That's our
Maybe she's
comment from
talking
our
about the grape you
Canadian
don't know, she
side.
might be talking about the grape jelly sausages in the queso. It could happen.
Oh, no. Okay. Save that thought. I knew
Thanks
this
for
would be
coming,
fun.
everybody.
Thank you so
Thanks,
much, everyone.
Barbara.
It's
It was super
delightful to
fun,
have you.
and we'll see you
Alrighty.
Thursday.
See you Thursday
Ooh,
indeed.
7-layer taco dip.
Oh,
S
yeah. Oh, yeah. Hey,
All right.
Trader
See you
Joe's always had a
Thursday.
really good one. Okay, talk to you
All
later.
right. Bye-bye.
Bye.